Round and rocks that are pretty, or you can open your perceptions onto other things.
In the forests of Montbougarache, Émeric Blanc has seen them, and he believes he has detected signs of their presence all over the place.
Here we are at a place we call the Trembling Rocks. If you look closely, you'll see a being there in the rock that looks like a sort of snake, and it represents one of the extraterrestrial races, but who have been here a long time, the reptilians. There's a rock like this. It looks a bit like a shark or an ancient spirit like that. What is going to happen in 2012 is the return of what we call the brothers and sisters from the stars to our consciousness, and then to everyday reality. In the Pyrenees, for some time now, we constantly hear UFOs here and there on the motorways. We photograph them, videoed them. This doesn't mean we've reached the goal, that everyone will be able to fly, to teletransport themselves. There are quantic leaps that take place little by little, and that prepare people to live in another dimension.
So we'll be able to do the same thing someday?
Of course. There are those on Earth who have been able to do so for a long time now. Now I'm going to leave you to look, to feel, to sit down.
Beliefs worthy of a science fiction film. But for Émeric, there is no doubt about them. And if we cannot perceive these realities, it's because our consciences are not well enough prepared.
Nothing, nobody can stop what's happening now on Earth. It's a plan, a procedure. It's been written since the dawn of time. All I can say, and for me this is the most important thing, is that everybody will be exactly where and when they need to be when the bell. The person must remain confident, follow the signs, follow the synchronicities, and we will all end up where we should end up.
If I die in 2012, that means it's my destiny?
Perhaps.
To escape this tragic destiny, there's only one solution: meditating and learning to understand the science. That's also why Daniel and his friends come to Bugarache. We join them at the end of 3 days hiking in the region.
I'm washing your feet like Jesus did to his disciples, his apostles. And you, in turn, must do this to your brothers. Do it with love and humility. Do it in memory of the Son.
During their stay, they underwent all sorts of rituals meant to raise their levels of consciousness. At the end of this preparation, they will have information to impart to us about extraterrestrials. It seems some races might be dangerous to humanity. Hungry for power, it appears they arrived on Earth a long time ago. And they have even made a pact with the American government.
We are under the control of those governing us, who are at the service of a space mafia. I won't go into details. And who, for several centuries now, have been subjugating the human race. So these people don't want to see the vibration rising in every being. Because as soon as it begins to rise and people become more conscious, we see what happened in North Africa and everywhere. There were orchestrated revolutions. By whom and by what? We can't know exactly, but personally I think it was an elevation of consciousness that caused it, and that people become aware of how they are being manipulated. There were several people assassinated because they were going to reveal these things. You know that. Who, for example? Kennedy was going to reveal what was happening. That wasn't appreciated. What was happening in the Nevada desert.
So, contact with extraterrestrials?
The CIA is very powerful, isn't it? Very powerful.
An unbelievable theory of an intergalactic plot. Some of these participants believe it's obvious. And they're surprised that we've never heard about it before. So for you, it's not surprising to say that there are extraterrestrials among us?
Not at all. That's why I don't see why it's being made such a big deal of. It may be understandable. Some people live in their own world. Or maybe I'm just a little advanced. That's what I'm telling you. Yes, we're different from the common mortal, that's for sure. It's like the rope theory. Have you heard about that?
No.
A researcher found out about this. He demonstrated that the world was made of superimposed layers that vibrate. Every layer vibrates at its own rhythm. And so, people who say they see flying saucers, suddenly they see a flying saucer, it takes off at a great speed, suddenly it's there, it leaves and it disappears. In fact, it doesn't disappear. It just takes a corridor. It takes an interdimensional corridor. That's why we don't see them anymore.
Surprising, usually harmless beliefs. Over the last few months, dozens of courses like this have sprung up in Bugarach. And like most of the locals, the driver of the little tourist train tends to laugh about it.
And if you look to the right, apparently on that summit there's a landing strip for flying saucers.
But Bugarach's reputation has also attracted to the region some practices that are clearly not appreciated. With a hidden camera, we went to the home of a man who claims to be able to heal all sorts of illnesses. He shows us a CV that's rather impressive.
During Jesus' time, I was Peter. Before that, I was Akhenaton. After Atlantis, I went to Egypt. Painting, it's simple. I was Giotto, the painter. And Giotto was Leonardo da Vinci.
Which is future medicine. Medicine after 2012.
In fact, I don't cure anything. I'm only a channel. I'm going to give the person wants to cure himself. And then it's a 100% cure if the person intends to free himself. If you take the keys, then presto, that's it, it's over. 100% intention to be cured is a 100% cure. That's how it was done in Jesus' day. It's no scoop, that's the way it is. Even a terminal stage cancer can be cured immediately if we become conscious. Why do I have this problem?
50 euros for 2 hours of talk. Without compunction, this pseudo-therapist exploits the despair of sick people. He even claims to have found the secret of immortality.
My cells regenerate, and from then on, I can live 15,000 years. It's as simple as that. You no longer have to die physically. Because death is an illusion of the third dimension.
With the influx of these strange visitors, the 195 villagers are beginning to worry.
Oh, the cat. Oh, aren't you pretty?
Starting with the village mayor, who could have done without this publicity.
Now, this is the work of a local photographer who had fun making a photo mosaic of the madness of extraterrestrials.
Le délire des extraterrestres.
He compiled a list of all the 2012 courses in preparation. Officially, these are all associative activities. You can't forbid them.
A vessel that came from the stars and is inhabited by an intraterrestrial linked to the Crystal Grail. This place awakens, reactivating the 12 chakras of the Earth. Operation Genesis, the installing of the vibrations of the celestial genome vibrations, the secret of the work of the Phoenix for the new era. Some of them even need Earth, so that's really quite a mouthful. And this costs 550 euros for 4 days. And that's without room and board. It's not my job to forbid, so I accept, no problems. But it's my responsibility to make sure with the competent authorities to make sure it's legal and that it doesn't invade freedoms.
Is sects setting up in his commune. According to the latest Mivilude report, that's the report of the government organization fighting against sectarian offshoots, fear of the end of the world in 2012 is one of the main themes used by sects to control their followers. Dominique and Isabel were victims. For 21 years they were part of a group. Lawyers, civil servants, 15 or so people living under the influence of a spiritual master who controlled through the fear of the end of the world.
We would be taken by extraterrestrials in a vessel. And during that time, the world would be destroyed and remade.